Joe Biden makes light of the poisoning of the Wagner leader and claims Vladimir Putin has already lost the Ukraine war. U.S. President Joe Biden said Wagner Group CEO Yevgeny Prigozhin may be in danger after he tried to briefly seize a Russian military base last month. "I would eat carefully if I were him," Biden said at a press conference in Helsinki on Thursday after touring 3 European countries. "I'll take care of my menu." Jokes about the serious incident where the Russian security services used nerve gas and polonium to kill President Vladimir Putin's political enemies. Biden said that at the NATO meeting in Vilnius, world leaders discussed Prigozhin's current position and were unsure how the attack would affect Russia's actions in Ukraine and the future of the Wagner Group. After Prigozhin announced that he would return the mercenaries marching to Moscow, he began to move to Belarus. But the Kremlin said this week that Putin held a 3-hour meeting with the head of the Wagner Group and other officials less than a week after the June 24 attack. However, Biden said the United States does not see a greater risk for Putin to use nuclear weapons in the conflict. Not only the West, but China and the rest of the world said, "Don't go there," said Biden. The U.S. president also said that Putin lost the war in Ukraine, expressing hope that the attack on Kyiv will force Moscow to step back, Biden said. "Sit down to discuss at the table." Putin lost the war. Putin has a real problem, Biden told reporters. He cannot win the war in Ukraine. 4,444 NATO leaders have dashed hopes of a clear timeline for joining forces from Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky, saying he will be sent at this week's Vilnius meeting only for the benefit. Leave the invitation. But when Biden said that during the war no country could become a member of NATO, Ukraine's entry now means World War III, he promised that Kyiv would one day join the club. Biden also said he was seriously considering a prisoner exchange for imprisoned Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich to return to his home in Russia. President Joe Biden joked on Thursday that he would have been careful after losing unsuccessfully if it had been against Wagner's director Yevgeny Prigozhin. Biden told reporters to Prigozhin, whose identity has not been released at this time, "We don't know exactly where he is and what his relationship is. If I were him, I would watch what I eat. I would watch my menu." Reports on Prigozhin's condition have been controversial since the brief coup that ended last month. Although the Kremlin claimed earlier this week that Putin met with Prigozhin on June 29, Putin called the leader a traitor. Gorzin. Biden says it's hard for anyone to know Prigozhin's future. "So, I don't know how to answer the question other than that." Prigozhin's Wagnerian forces are an important part of Russia's anti-Ukrainian forces. This group of mercenaries played an important role in Bakhmut's control. However, Prigozhin was dissatisfied with the war of the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. Speaking after the NATO meeting in Vilnius, Lithuania, Biden made it clear that Putin cannot win the war against Ukraine. "Ukraine will never win the war," Biden said at a press conference with Finnish President Sauli Niinistö in Helsinki. "He's already lost the war." Joe Biden President Week 4 spoke about his 5-day tour of Europe in Helsinki after he showcased Finland's NATO membership, which the West sees as a revitalized and enlarged alliance in the face of Russian aggression. The halt came after Biden attended a high-level NATO meeting near Lithuania focused on Ukraine's approach to accession. But the United States and its allies praised Finland as the newest member of the Defense Alliance, as one of the meeting's achievements. Finland shares an 830-mile border with Russia and until recently had good relations with Moscow. But he offered to join NATO shortly after Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded neighboring Ukraine last year. On Wednesday night, Biden promised that Western partners would not abandon Ukraine's defenses, even if they had not yet agreed on the route or timetable for Ukraine's entry into NATO, which Kyiv wants to include. At the end of the conference in the Lithuanian city of Vilnius, he said, "The defense of freedom is not the work of a day or a year. This is the call of our lives, forever."